Welcome to JSA TV live here from the floor of PTC 2023. I'm Barb Mitchell, and joining me is Michael Donohue, Managing Director at Cumulus Data, and Kevin Dalton, Chief Data Center Operator.
Good morning.
Yes, officer for Cumulus Data Centers. So thank you so much for joining us. We're really looking forward to, we're sort of kicking off here this morning what's set to be a series of great conversations with leaders such as yourselves in the industry. It's a great event already this year.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah. So tell us, what are you experiencing so far? It's day one, but it kind of, I was just saying to someone, it feels sort of like day 3 or 4, but...
Yeah, well, most everyone gets here early to start with anyway,
right,
especially us coming from east, just to get used to the time change.
The 12+ hour journey.
Yeah, so we're already well into it for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, what sorts of conversations? I know that, first of all, let's step back a second and maybe for our viewers and just a preview of the conversations you've probably been having or will have, tell us a little bit about your company and what you're focused on.
For sure. So by way of introduction, Cumulus is a subsidiary of Talon Energy. And I think the goal of Cumulus is to try to solve the trilemma, or we call the power trilemma, which is solving zero carbon, low cost, reliable power. Yeah. And the way that we're thinking about doing that is by connecting our nuclear power plant to a data center that we're building on campus.
Right.
We're going to be basically trying to disrupt the way that the traditional industry pulls power off the grid.
Right.
And we're going to be going around the utility by just directly connecting our power plant to our data center. And to answer the question I think you said earlier is, what is like the number one thing that people are continuing to talk about at all these happy hours is, where are people going to get power from? Right? Because we keep on hearing that the utilities are shutting people off. They're not going to have power for a few years now.
Right.
And so, I think sustainability was the conversation last year, and now the conversation seems to be, where are people going to get power from?
Where's it coming from? Yeah, I mean, a big global conversation, right? I think, yeah. So hard to know where to start with all of that. But let's start with, you have a flagship data center you're building out in Pennsylvania. Can you talk about that?
Correct. So, the idea behind the data center is we were looking for ways to better monetize, our assets.
Yeah.
From a standpoint, we sell most of our power directly to the grid, which, is pretty much at a fixed cost for the most part. Yeah. And looking to, but like I said, better monetize and get better margins on, some of our investments. So we looked at a variety of different, vertical markets and something that we could look at and, monetize that. And one of the things we came up with is data centers. When you take a look at the data center market, it's one of the fastest growing markets, and it's been pretty consistent over the last 15 years. So, yeah. Especially when you see what's happening in the markets right now, economy is going down, and the data center market is still expanding, maybe a little bit slower, but still expanding. So, there's some better certainty with customers from that standpoint, and the way that we're looking at it right now is how do we best serve the market? And one of the ways of doing that is building our own data center. And like Mike said, solving some of those problems that are out there right now. With our asset, we've got a lot of power available. We've got it available at a really good cost. And it's also carbon free. So, data center, those are one of the 3 boxes that you have to check when you're building a data center. So we have the ability to do that. And, right now we are developing a 300,000 square foot building in Northeast Pennsylvania. And we've got power available right now. And we're looking to continue to grow that campus. We've got plenty of land also, which is another factor in the marketplace that's hard to find, especially good land, because data center campuses are not small. So we have, like I said, been able to check a lot of those boxes that people are looking for right now.
And another unique feature, I think, of this data center is the power source, right? And so powered by nuclear energy fully, and I think that kind of answer some of the things you were talking about before. Where is it coming from and how? Talk to us about that.
So one of the things that people don't realize is that, obviously renewables are kind of what's on everyone's mind these days. But what's not really well understood is that renewables are not able to keep up with the total demand that is required. And also the intermittent factor that comes into play with renewables. You still need to have base load, which keeps it all stable. And nuclear power is really the best way to do that. So that's one of the things that we looked at is, that base load capability is critical for the long-term viability of the grid, to limit, the volatility that we see with not just renewables, but volatility of fossil fuel plants. Take a look at what happens with gas prices, and, coal prices are all over the map too now. So having that stable power source right next to a data center is something that, our customers are looking for, because that gives them, cost certainty, years out in the future, which you can't get from other locations that, have volatile issues with, either, gas or anything else for that matter.
Right. And I'm curious. So yesterday, I happened to catch our first broadcast of the whole show was with Jao Lima. You joined a conversation, sort of a fireside chat type style, right here on JSA TV, where you were talking about some of the practical ways to really live the talk that is sustainability. You mentioned that has been a big topic. So
yeah, it was a really nice way to kick off PTC, and it was a cool panel. It was somebody from the finance side, somebody from regulatory, and somebody from operations, which was my side.
Right.
And one of the things that I think really, they almost marketed my project better than I was able to, because we kept on coming around to the fact of what we need to do is bring the load closer to the power sources. And so we were talking about doing that at the nuclear plant. We were talking about that and potentially bringing them closer to where the renewables are being built out and expanding from the non-traditional markets. And that we think that that's probably where the trend's going to be in 2023. As just we know, all the major centers are just really congested right now, having problem installing any new capacity.
Yeah. So what should we expect to hear? I mean, I know that there's always lots going on. We just talked about Pennsylvania. That's a big initiative, big project, keeping you busy, I'm sure. But over the next 6 months or year, what should we expect to hear from Cumulus?
So obviously, first of all, we're looking at trying to sell the data center out at this point. So we have an active effort right now in trying to pursue customers. And also, we have a lot of other sites around the country that we're looking to develop also. So, I mean, we're looking to grow, obviously. And, one of the best things about what we have right now, with the data center next to the nuclear plant is the overall TCO model is about the best you're going to find in the marketplace. So we expect a lot of interest as a result of that going forward.
Yeah. Any final things you want to share with our viewers before we help them connect with you?
Just come find us here at PTC. Happy to talk about what we're doing.
Yeah, great. And so for those of our viewers who aren't lucky enough to be in Waikiki with us today, with us this week, where can they connect with you? How can they learn more?
Sure. Obviously they can connect with us on LinkedIn, but also on cumulusinfra.com.
Yeah.
And reach out to us. We'd love to set up some time to talk about the project and talk about other future projects.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in to JSA TV Live here in beautiful Waikiki, Hawaii at PTC 2023. Talk to you next time. Mahalo.